Sandy Charles with FanRag Sports, and I'm joined by our very own college basketball reporter, Kyle Kensing. We are here talking all things University of North Carolina Tar Heels. Now, they did win against the Ducks in the semifinal. It wasn't a pretty win, but it was a win nonetheless. So, Kyle, they take on Gonzaga tonight for the national championship. What do they have to do to walk away with this W?
Well, you're absolutely right. Not a pretty win on Saturday against Oregon. Essentially, clean up the things that made that such an ugly game. That's critical for North Carolina to win this matchup. Obviously, they need to get their offense going. Number 7 in the country per Ken Pomeroy's metrics against the number 1 rated defense in the nation. So it's going to be kind of a fun styles clash in that regard. And I feel like if Carolina is able to push the tempo a little bit, get Justin Jackson cooking on offense, feed Kennedy Meeks in the post, draw some fouls on Shemit Karnowski, North Carolina's going to be in good shape, and they're going to finish that redemption story that Justin Jackson has lamented being asked so much about this weekend.
You did talk a little bit about a couple of guys. Is there one guy in particular that we really need to keep an eye on?
I feel like as far as under the radar players, with one thing with North Carolina is they go so deep into their bench. You saw Luke May step up against Kentucky where he hit that big buzzer beater to give them the win. That was very reminiscent of the Villanova game last year, actually. So they're able to go into their bench and bring these guys on who can contribute in a major way. But I feel like Theo Pinson is going to be the under the radar key tonight, both offensively and defensively. He's going to need to stop those wing players from Gonzaga who can be effective scorers. He might have to play some point with Joel Berry nursing an injured ankle. And if he's able to get his jump shot going, I think that can extend the Gonzaga defense a little bit. So I feel like he might be the under-the-radar key in this one.
Now, lastly, University of North Carolina can win this if
North Carolina can win this if they're able to push the tempo. And that's the one thing that no opponent's really been able to do against Gonzaga in this NCAA tournament, or really all season long. I mean, you saw teams that like to play that style, like in Iowa State. They weren't able to do it against Gonzaga earlier in the season. West Virginia in the Sweet 16, their press defense was effective, but they weren't able to generate turnovers and turn those into transition buckets. If North Carolina is able to get out on the break a little bit, whether that's by generating turnovers or getting the ball out quickly on rebounds, then I think that that's going to really work to their advantage, and I think that's the number 1 key for North Carolina to win this.
Awesome. Thank you so much. For Kyle Kensing, I'm Sandy Charles. Keep it right here at FanRag Sports. Coming up is a preview on Gonzaga with our very own John Rothstein.